Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Restoration Talks. Today, we continue our inspiring series on great women in the Bible, focusing on Deborah,
Yeah.
our female judge.
Yes.
Remarkable woman, a woman of wisdom, humility, a true mother, and there are so many things that we can say about this woman. Life has a way of wearing us down, whether through challenges or setbacks, simply demands of everyday life. But today, we are going to learn, restore, and of course, talk. So you are here at the right place. Feel free to share your thoughts, every listener at home, wherever you are, all your insights, your comments. Please drop them in the comment section below. And my ladies, let's talk. Let's talk.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
I said
Thank
in the
you.
intro, there's a lot that we can say about this character.
A lot.
And I think we also have like discussed this character so many times. But what I would love us to do that we can touch certain things, what we have learned, the things that stood out, and even to me myself, there are many
Yeah.
things that stood out, and especially when we look at her placement, her
Mm,
role.
Yeah. True.
And I could identify a little bit, a few things, what I also saw in other characters in the Bible,
Hmm.
and that was her place under the tree, which is a very strange place. You can say a mysterious place.
mhm,
I could connect certain things.
Hmm.
The place where she was under the palm tree, and I was thinking, like, okay, this place under the tree, what happens at that place? A place where you can commune with Elohim, a place where you can listen and receive stuff, a
mhm,
place where you can contemplate, withdraw yourself from the crowds, from the community or people around you, and just be alone. These are things that stood out for me.
Hmm.
And if you do that, it's difficult to do it actually.
What do you mean that it's difficult?
We are all occupied easily with stuff
Oh,
that
yeah.
we have to do, our responsibilities that we carry, especially from a role of a woman. Yeah, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Some are studying, working, running projects, has to cater for families, their household. But this woman, Deborah,
mhm,
her role within the community, the people of Israel, and specifically that place where she was found under the tree,
mhm.
that really stood out for me, and I identified her place also with other people in the Bible. I think people like Elijah and I think another character, I think Abraham also, and other people. So these things stood out. What stood out for you?
Ooh, good question. Now that you're talking about the tree, there's one person that came to mind, and it was Nathaniel
Ah,
in the New Testament, and he was also under dwelling under the tree, and the Messiah, when he meets the Messiah also tells him that he saw him under the tree, but Nathaniel was by himself. So
yeah.
Nathaniel was like, "What are you talking about?" And I remember noting it down for myself because I was wondering what that meant. What did the Messiah mean with "I saw you under the tree"? And that's something I still have to figure out because I couldn't find an answer. So maybe if you say you have analyzed certain things, you could
Yeah.
connect dots. So
Yeah.
maybe you can elaborate on what that means. So that's the part on the tree. And when it comes to the story of Deborah herself, yeah, I guess what stood out to me was the fact that a lot of people always want to make her the face of female leadership in the Bible.
Mhm.
She's at the forefront, and also the main argument of yes, women can also be leaders in the assemblies. And based on the teaching, I saw that it's taken out of proper context
Yeah.
Yeah.
what it means to be a female leader. And that's probably something that we'll look at later. But the fact that she was called a mother in Israel, I think there's great wisdom in understanding what mother is,
Hmm.
what a mother can mean. So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And even when you said as a leader, because that is also something that I easily can identify in her, that she was a woman people could easily approach. Like she stood out, or she was known for an individual that people could go there and ask for consultation and come with their affairs, because she had
Yeah.
that wisdom to say something about certain things. So for a leader to be influential, and also a woman,
Mhm.
nowadays, when I have to bring it back in our time, it's totally different. We also have that role to carry that leadership, but
Mhm.
it is so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The influence of that, the influence that you carry to make an impact, the impact is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
True.
easily see that when they have the leadership role, you all see that in the assembly, around the globe. When they have the leadership role, they preach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But is that the only thing that a woman can do? Can we only preach, or are there other things that we can do? That is also something that came in mind.
Mhm.
I think also something that the preacher man also said was yeah, about singing, that a lot of movement, yeah, besides, let me say, preaching the word, we actually, by singing, we also can lead people to, how do you say it, um, yeah, it's a way to minister unto the people, but not preaching, because the words that you are singing is
Mhm.
also prayer. It can also move someone, and so also that's a way to, yeah, to help others to by singing, but also by giving advices like Deborah did. I think we women, we have, yeah, that's something, I think it's within us, like giving certain advices. Also, if I look to my mother, if there's something small, she can just say something and it make me like change my mind.
Listen, yeah, and you listen also.
Yeah, you listen, and
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I think as women, we shouldn't like underestimate what we are able to do by words, and that's also show how powerful words can be.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not words alone. I can also add something to that the words, that is of course something that it appears, it comes out, it also leaves something behind. If you have that good influence for the word to come out, that people can go to certain directions. I think also is a lifestyle that comes along with it. How you choose your friends,
Yeah.
um, what you get in on a daily basis. What do you watch? What do you listen to? How do you allow yourself to be inspired as well? Because if I have to bring it back to Deborah,
Mhm.
it's crazy because in that time that she was present as a judge, it was also a time that most of the people, they did not follow Elohim. They did not follow the laws and commandments. So also to carry that position, and even to bring it back to our time, it is hard to be set apart. Also at the same time, to be at other places, at the workspace, for example, and yeah, be aware of how you impact your surroundings when you speak, when you live, when you even present yourself or you profile yourself outside. Is that influential enough for other people to listen?
Hmm.
Even it brings me in a very reflective state all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also to add on what both of you said, Helena said the impact of your words. And I would also, I would say, yeah, your communication. And also just the influence that you have. So maybe by suggesting something, or because when I think of the scriptures, I can't remember a story except the story of Jezebel, where a woman was extremely forceful in maybe the message that she wanted to bring across. But most of them came or approached maybe their husband or their master in a very humble way, but also more as a suggestion rather than forcing a person to do this, this, and that. And I believe that we, especially in this day and age, have, yeah, we have lost that. We have lost that. I don't like using words that are being used a lot in mainstream in the times that we are in, but
Yeah.
we have lost that soft touch in a sense, and we everything we want to do by force, and we have to listen to us. And if men preach, we preach harder. If they prophesy, we prophesy and roll on the ground harder. Whilst there's so much wealth in just being a woman and understanding what you can bring about um, through that. And Stephanie, you mentioned also it's a lot. There are a lot of demands in society. We go to school, we work, we have a household, and we cannot do everything. And that's something I'm really starting to realize, that women were seriously not built to do everything. I don't know why we were trying so hard to do everything, but hey, yo, you can keep that. I'm tired.
Basically, we want to force ourselves to do everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's be honest, eh? Like it's like it's like also like the support of men seems minimal, eh?
You
Mm,
said what?
It seems minimal, like the support of men. Like let me see, if I'm on YouTube or TikTok, a lot of black women, they are just pouring their heart out, saying that they need to do a lot of things because the support of the men, it's not a lot. So I can understand why as a woman then you feel like obliged to do a lot of things more because you're on your own. And of course not everyone, eh? Like there are also people that have a good support system, but I can realize if you don't have it,
mm.
yeah, what then?
Yeah, yeah. Then you have to do it by yourself. I don't disagree with that at all. I feel like how can I say this without coming across
Feel free.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, there's also a role that men have to play, because if there's something I've noticed is that women become less soft or less in the how they're supposed to be when the man forsakes his role, or
Hmm.
the man is the complete opposite. So, for example, a very emotional man, I've never seen a very emotional man with a soft woman herself. I have never seen, I've never see,
Really. Hmm.
so there is they even it's like they even attract each other, because you're giving the opposite
Opposite vibes.
energy or vibes,
Yeah.
you know. And should women do everything by themselves? No, we have often been put in situations, especially as Black women, where we only have ourselves, you know. And also from the men's perspective, I hope they can understand, but same goes for the men. They also go through a lot of things, and I feel like there's constantly this tug of war about who's stronger, who is better, who's more independent, whilst we should look at a resolution as to, okay, we come from this background. How can we solve and come back together again? How can you being a man, me being a woman, how can that come together instead of trying to be something that we're not? Because Elohim makes everything, and when he creates something perfect. So there is a reason why he made a man, and there's a reason why he made a woman. So
Hmm.
we should just get back to basics, I guess.
Yeah, that is actually where it starts.
Yeah.
Because
So,
the need for us, or the feeling that we have that we want to do everything, or we have to pick up everything, because in our view it might seem as if the men are not stepping up or not carrying their responsibilities. It's actually, we should actually turn it from, we should look at it from a different perspective. Rather, we should first see ourselves as supporters,
Mhm.
and when you do that, then you take a few steps backwards, or even stand still and analyze things, and be a person that listen, be a person that asks question first before you start acting up and doing things out of wisdom or without wisdom, I mean.
Yeah.
So I think it also starts with ourselves as women, that we should check ourselves, like how do we make certain movements, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
we don't easily listen. We speak, and when we do, it's a lot. So we should listen and ask the question, ask that brother, ask that leader, what can I do? How can I support? How can I be that helpmeet as Elohim has designed us first
Yeah.
in the most original state? I think when we do that, maybe,
Maybe.
maybe,
Yeah, but it's a good
yeah,
point what you're stating, or because I think the last few years, a few years, I think, how old am I? 3, 4 years, I think. So I no, no, last few years I'm really like thinking like, okay, what kind of woman am I? Like, who is Helena? Because to be very honest, when I was younger, growing up, I was like a bit like, oh, I don't care. I wasn't really like girly, busy with film. I was like a bit like, I don't care, just okay, just simple. Everything was simple. I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, it's all allemaal, it's okay. But then like also through my journey in the faith, and also dealing like with men in the faith, uh, um I was like, oh, I cannot keep this behavior forever. Like I really need to mature, but also like maturing in being a woman, because that will also like help me in the things that I want to do in my future when it comes to my job, or what I want to accomplish in life. So as a woman, it's indeed very important to know like, what do you stand for, what do you want, what are your qualities, what can you bring to the table, yeah, so that you know, so that you can stand on your, yeah, on your feet, on your own. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Who?
Um, nice one. And I think that's also what everyone should be doing at a certain moment, or should arrive to that level, because whether we like it or not, um, when we start this journey, we come as we are, and 9 out of 10 times there's a lot of work that has to be done before we become who Elohim wants us to be. So maybe for you said, for example, easy or how do you say that? Not, a bit nonchalant, if I can say,
Yeah,
certain things.
yeah.
For me, it was, for example, dealing with a lot of men around me. Goodness gracious, that was that was we're still working on on it, and maybe there's something for everyone, and especially as women to work on. But when you give Elohim the space and the time to do so, um, he will.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned having men around, because the certain behaviors that we have, we think it's part of us because that's just how we have lived our entire lives. But
Mhm.
um, as soon as you are maybe confronted with the opposite sex or something, you're like, oh, whoa. Sometimes I kind of behave like like you guys, you know. So and that's okay, because there's some women that just have this. They're just a little bit more tomboyish, to say so.
Mm.
Um, but there comes a time that you have to go back and read your Bible as to what does Elohim say actually. Okay, sometimes you have to leave certain behaviors and certain patterns, and it's going to be hard. there's also a reason why sometimes women take on certain behaviors and attitudes in life
Mhm.
or perspectives. But always go back to what Elohim wants,
Yeah.
and conform to what he wants you to be, and he will help you. Okay, okay. Last thing, because I talk a lot as
No,
well.
no, 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 no,
Just
no.
pause,
Because
just pause.
I also want to, I will elaborate a little bit on what you
Yeah.
shared, but just continue, continue.
Last thing is, I remember writing down the woman that I want to be, in the faith. And I wrote her down not from this perspective of I'm Brittany, but more so, um, what does Elohim say about the a woman,
Mhm.
and what does he want to see in a woman? And then I wrote it down like a woman of faith is pinch, 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 pinch. Yeah. And I started using that as a prayer list for myself,
Yeah.
because to me, I find it so important to be someone of faith, to be someone of impact, and I want to do that in my full womanhood,
Mhm.
and not centered around men, because a lot of females also do that. That they start doing these type stuff because they want to attract a man, but are
Mhm.
you attractive to Elohim, to say it like that?
Yeah.
Oh, so those are small things that help. So that's what I would also give.
Hmm. Talking about bringing it back to basic, and especially from how Elohim wants it and how Elohim has designed it, an interesting comment was made during the show by the minister himself. And he said, if you can't obey your husband, you can't obey any man of Yah. What is
Mm.
your thoughts on this?
Come again?
If you can't
Okay.
obey your husband, you cannot obey any man of Yah. That's the statement that he made.
If you can't,
Don't have husband, so I don't.
I don't.
Okay, but
I also
let's just
don't
give
have a husband.
her,
But
yeah.
I think because the
Yeah.
Bible also say that.
Okay, okay, maybe okay, not husband. You can say if you cannot obey your father, if you cannot
Yeah.
obey your uncle.
Uh,
Because let me make it very broad for everyone that can relate to this statement. If
uh,
you cannot, then you can also not obey any man of Elohim.
hmm, um, yeah, that's a good question.
Because I think I agree with this statement.
Mhm.
Why? Because I think it all comes down to being humble, and I think this is very key for a woman in general, but also even every individual to be very humble. And if you cannot submit yourself to somebody who is leading you older than you, then how would you follow up instructions or guidance, even rebuke from a messenger of Elohim? So I see it as the same thing.
Yeah, I
It is also they're both heads. They're both a covering of.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not possible for me. It does not click to me if you are a person that um, disrespect your own uncle by talking bad about him, or even in your physical appearance or through communication. Then all of a sudden you will switch that behavior or that attitude and be submissive all of a sudden towards the servant of Elohim. If you do that, that means that you are not genuine in your behavior, and also not honest and transparent. So
Mm-hmm.
those things to me goes hand in hand together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully,
But
fully.
maybe you think it is possible. I don't know.
Mm-mm. Doesn't work like that. Unfortunately. No, no, not unfortunately. What? No, but it it doesn't work like that. I agree with what you said. Y- yeah, is someone of there's a structure and an order, and he's not going to bypass that structure or order for any person. So if you're married, you have your husband, but if you're not married, your father is always your head. So there's a certain level of reference that you give to your father. Um, and that's actually also the training ground for when someone else is going to be there for you, because there are some people who maybe have not do not really have their fathers in their life, could be not active, passed away, and maybe someone from the assemblies or the gathering that they're going through is helping them navigate through life. um, and I believe that that is then where the dynamics also become kind of like a father and a child dynamic. So if you already disregard that personally, I don't believe and I don't see how you would suddenly out of the blue start giving reference to someone who's not even related to you, who you actually don't even know. So they go hand in hand. Is it easy? No, because as I said, there are women that do not have active fathers in
Yeah.
their life. For example, I have a father, and that he's present, but he wasn't present whilst I was growing up. So for me, I still have to learn how to, for example, now have a minister over me or someone that's like guiding me and helping me. It's not easy. I just don't know that dynamic. It's very odd for me, and sometimes that goes with a lot of bumps. But also in that, Elohim will show you what he wants and requires, and even in that, we forget. Sometimes we forget Elohim is also a father.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same reference,
True.
he has to have the same. He even has to have more a reference like that. So in my journey and my relationship with Elohim, I also had to learn. Um, Brittany, you cannot be like this with me and then behave like this towards those that I set over you. You know?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Here's what I find so powerful of what I saw in Deborah, because um, there was a point in this story that she was the one who um, approached Barak, the man, and when she did that, she did it in a very appropriate way. She approached him to remind him of what Elohim said, but she could have done something else, and that is also what we see in our time. She advised him, she counseled him, she even encouraged him to uh, to lead the people of Israel.
Hmm.
And looking at her, what she did and how she did that, I think that is also something that we should really um, pick out as a lesson.
Yeah.
That even though she had that wisdom, she had that assignment, or even the message to do so, she still was humble. She was still wise. She did. She was not even taking over, because
Hmm.
I think when she would take over the position of Barak, that is where she will disrespect Elohim at first,
Mm.
and also Barak as a man, and also I think her husband, because it was also told that she was married.
Yeah, she was married. Yeah.
And I think we should also not forget that part. That in your role, you have to consider your place very well before you act up. So that's
But
what
you
I
okay? Well, wait. You say place. Place.
place.
Define place. Because some people will take this out of
Not
context.
for her.
It is very plain. If I say place,
Hmm.
you should first know yourself as an individual. Like, where do you stand
Mm.
without um, attaching relationship status, but just an individual. Who are you? Are you a woman or are you a man? Okay, check. If you are a woman, of course, because we are now talking in the context of a woman.
Hmm.
Um, like uh, um, your place in a very bigger score or scope. I mean, community, family, within a gathering. That's also something that you can check for yourself. Like, what is that place? How does it look like? If
Mm.
it is mixed up setting with men and women, then also that you have to know how do you function, which tasks are you going to carry out. If you want to say something, if you want to use your voice, how are you going to do that? So that also, I'm talking about that place. What is your role and how does that look like? We want to make impact, and
Mhm.
I think we shared a lot of these things. There are different ways how you can make that impact according to Elohim
mm,
in his ways, through singing, testimonies, encouraging, just being the support, just be present, just
mental
be a
support.
cleaner. So also that one you have to identify it very well. And now when we come to the relationship or marital status, you can also like view very well how that looks like. If you are a woman and you are married and you want to be active within the gathering or a community, you should know also how you should carry that role. I think it would be very appropriate if you can also discuss your activities with your husband first,
Mm,
because he is your head, he is your leader. So different angles you can pick it up from, like what is your place?
mm,
That's what I'm talking about. It's
Mhm.
very broad,
Yeah.
very
but
true.
very important for us to look at it very well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a question,
Yeah.
by the way, by Brother Henry. He asked,
Yeah.
"What does it mean to be a mother in
Doesn't
Israel in 2025?"
good question.
Hmm. Be a mother. Um. Ooh.
I would say, yeah, like in the times of Deborah, it was different from now. But I think now, how you can do it, like if you have sisters, you can encourage one another. What we are doing right now through social media, I see that a lot. That women giving their advices, but also sharing their yeah, personal things that you can learn when it comes to the faith. So I think that's is a way yeah, be a mother, yeah, be a mother or a sister encourager for others. And yeah, when it comes to the home situation, even if you're married or not, yeah, how do you yeah, communicate with your parents, your siblings, how do you say it, um I would say Dutch, je moet hem
Yeah.
je moet hem hoe kan ik dit zeggen? Um, nee, ik kom er niet op.
Maybe you can
Uh,
um, call out an example or
Mhm.
yeah, I'm thinking.
describe what you mean.
Um, what was I saying? In a family setting,
Mhm.
like how can hoe ben je bruikbaar voor een ander?
Okay.
Ja,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to be of use to
juist. Ja, ja,
your family.
ja, ja. So that are ways how can you be, yeah, a mother in Israel in the times we live right now. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Agree. An example figure, as you said, whether in your family, but also to others. Um, I also believe, because oh yeah, there's certain things that we as women can naturally do because we're women, but not every woman always exudes what a mother should be. Um, and I think the mothering comes back in nurturing the people around you, creating environments where people can become their fullest potential, recognizing that, and yeah, growing that. I see it as like some type of garden that you're tending, and then making the environment, or creating such an environment in which people can grow and in which they can flourish. To teach also, my mom, she was mentioning something, and then she said, yeah, all mothers are teachers. Oh yeah, she was explaining something, and I was like, oh, okay, well done, you're a real teacher. And then she said, yeah, of course, all mothers are teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
um, so that also, I took that with me, that's indeed true. Teach them in what they need, um, teach them in the things that they don't know yet. Maybe you're in another phase of life and other people are not yet there. Maybe one day they'll be there. But maybe you can create something for them to eat, like have a hoe zeg je dat? Zachte landing. That you create something through which they can ease their way
Mm.
into that process. And lastly, and that's something that I noticed when reading different stories about the women of the scriptures, and especially the maybe the matriarchs. So, for example, a Rebecca, a Rachel. Um, it says that when they met their husband, and once again, I don't want to be the focus to be on the man, but when they met their husband, they were tending to their father's flock. And it's said that multiple times, even when you read the story of Rebecca, if I'm not mistaken, it also says that she was, in another version, it says she was a shepherdess. So she was taking care of her father's sheep. Um, and when I noticed that multiple times, I wrote down for myself. So like a woman or a woman of faith, and I would add that to a mother in Israel, is someone who is, yeah, about her father's business, to say it like that. So you
Yeah.
take care of his sheep. He needs hands, he needs feet in this world.
Mhm.
So if you avail yourself to him, he can use you to also help those who he might not directly approach or have an influence on. But you as a vehicle, you as a vessel, you being a woman, do have that ability to help them and impact them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nice one. Yeah.
Nice things that you all pointed out, and maybe one thing that I can add also is um, the services that we can offer to our surroundings.
Mhm,
Because I don't think we only pour into our immediate relatives or families, even the same thing, but also we should um, look at our own communities, our people around us, our neighbors, like which services can you make available. It can be through different
mhm,
skills that you have or qualities that you can even create or make something. And I think also that can be very good contribution also to be of a support, of an inspiration, and many more things. So a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
mhm,
question.
mhm,
And I think also there were other comments made. Gustavo Braga, thank you also for your contribution.
mhm,
Thank you so much. And I also want to make or a shout out to our listeners who also engaged with us in our last show.
mhm,
Mr. Ching Ching, thank you so much for joining our sessions. Venice Johnson and Sister Marsha, thank you for the listeners. We always like to engage with our viewers.
mhm,
So, just to
Yeah.
round it up, I am very happy that we had a very insightful conversation.
Yeah.
Deborah is a very known woman in the Bible and also famous in messages in the assemblies. And I hope that the viewers and the watchers at home could take something along, some life lessons, experiences, and other things that they can also check themselves very well. Make sure that you use the tools that were shared during this show also in your personal time, that we know our place. Very important that we remain in our own role as women, that we analyze ourselves on a regular basis. And one thing that I would love you to take along and to ponder upon on this Sabbath, how can you stand out and be genuine in your services to others? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you share this uh, live stream with your friends, your family. Subscribe to this channel, like it, and please, please tune in next week. Yeah, willing, the same time, same platform, and also tomorrow, 12 o'clock Central European Time. you will also be here live, where the minister will also elaborate on a different character. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day or
Thank you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.